Ambassador Sujan or Shunai, DG, Armed Forces, distinguished participants, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt condolences to all those who lost their lives in the tragic incident that occurred in Delhi yesterday. I pray to God to grant strength and solace to the bereaved families in this hour of deep grief. From this platform, I wish to assure my citizens that the country's leading investigative agencies are conducting a swift and thorough inquiry into the incident. The findings of the investigation will soon be made public. I want to formally assure the nation that those responsible for this tragedy will be brought to the justice and will not be spared under any circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to be amidst this august assembly of the eminent speakers and participants at the Delhi Defence Dialogue 2025. I extend my warmest welcome to our distinguished international guests, whose wisdom and a global perspective will enrich our deliberations and lend greater substance to this dialogue. I appreciate the Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis and the Director General Ambassador Sujan Shunai for leading this edition of the Delhi Defence Dialogue. Firstly, I convey my congratulations on the successful convening of this edition of the Delhi Defence Dialogue. This forum has emerged as a flagship platform for thoughtful deliberations and a strategic engagement on the multifaceted challenges of defence and security. The dialogue brings together informed voices, fresh perspectives, and analytical insights to examine contemporary trends and evolving ideas in a rapidly transforming global environment. I also take this opportunity to wish the Director General, MPIDSA, scholars, staff, members, and everyone who has been associated with the Institute a very happy 60th Foundation Day. I have been told that it was on this day that IDSA was instituted in 1965 with the vision to promote national and international security through the generation and the dissemination of knowledge on defense and security related issues. Over the years, MPIDSA has emerged as one of the finest think tanks, not only in Asia but also globally, through its in-depth, independent scholarly research, policy guidance, and efforts to enhance strategic thought in the country. I am hopeful that the Institute will continue its excellent work, striving towards its ideals and supporting efforts for the national and international security. The theme of the current edition of the Delhi Defence Dialogue is harnessing new age technology for defence capability development. In light of the prevailing international security environment and the ongoing Operation Sindoor, the choice of the theme is most appropriate. I compliment MPIDSA for taking the discussion on this subject forward with scholars, practitioners, defense researchers, and industry representatives. Friends, the character of warfare as well as technology has been changing in every era. From the discovery of the gunpowder to the advent of aviation, from the dawn of radar to the age of cyber and space, each generation has witnessed its own technological revolution. It may be true that change feels faster today, but that is only a matter of scale and perception. Technology has always evolved steadily, persistently, and more often than not for the better. What truly matters, therefore, is not just the pace of technological change, but the pace at which we are able to absorb and adapt to it. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak of the new age technology in defense, it is natural that our minds first go to the disruptive changes in modern warfare, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, swarm technologies, and so on. These are indeed transformative, and India and the world are making bold strides in each of these domains. But to truly interpret this theme, we must look beyond the obvious. I believe the power of technology is not limited to the devices or algorithm, but it lies in its all-encompassing nature, in the way it redefines every process, every system, and every decision that contributes to the national security. New age technologies is not just about what we fight with, but how we prepare, plan, and sustain. It shapes our procurement processes, our logistics networks, our decision framework, and even our training philosophies. Therefore, when I think about this theme of harnessing technology, I interpret it as a call to reimagine the entire defense ecosystem, right from the spark of an idea in a research laboratory to its field validation in the forward bases, from the flow of the materials through our supply chain to the flow of intelligence through our command centers. Technology must serve as a connective tissue that binds it all together. Whether it is designing a next generation radar, forecasting logistics needs through predictive analytics, or shortening decision cycles through digital dashboards, each element must work in harmony with the others. In this sense, harnessing technology is not just about adding new tools. It is about transforming the very basis of our institutions. It is about making them more agile, anticipatory, and adaptive. It is about creating a defense architecture that learns continuously, responds instantly, and evolves relentlessly in tune with the pace of change. Friends, it is but natural to get swept up in the prevailing buzzwords of our times. But I believe that the real revolution lies in the quieter, continuous improvement of the systems that enable faster, cleaner, and more transparent functioning. A high-speed data link or an AI-driven algorithm will achieve little if our internal processes remain slow. Even the promise of the quantum computing or autonomous systems will remain unrealized if we do not build the human and the institutional capacity to absorb and supply them effectively. The spirit of harnessing new technology must extend to the way we design policy, process information, and make decisions. In that sense, technology is not only a tool but a culture. It is a way of doing things better, faster, and more intelligently. It is about ensuring that the data moves faster than doubt, that decision making is informed by evidence, and that the soldier, the scientist, and the civil servant all work in synergy through shared platforms. Much of our defense readiness today rests on what might be called invisible technologies, which includes secure data architectures, encrypted networks, automated maintenance systems, and interoperable databases. These may not capture public imagination like a new aircraft or missile or warship, but they determine whether the right equipment reaches the right place at the right time, whether commanders have real-time visibility, and whether systems talk to each other seamlessly. Friends, as I said, technology is not confined to weapons or platforms alone. It also resides in systems that make our institutions work faster, more transparently, and more intelligently. The true test of technological advancement lies not only in what we create, but in how we function. Technology must be seen not only as a force multiplier, but also as a resource optimizer. The true measures of this, the true measure of its impact lies in how efficiently it helps us plan, prioritize, and platform. One area which can serve as an example to internalize this thinking is our capital procurement process. This is because we operate in an environment of finite resources and expanding responsibilities. Every rupee spent and every system inducted must therefore yield the maximum strategic value. Technology and data analytics must be leveraged to improve decision making and ensure optimal use of every resource. I have been told that in many advanced nations, the concept of life cycle cost is deeply woven into their procurement frameworks. Recently, I have directed that we too must begin to access these sustenances costs right at the inception stage of every procurement proposals. This will help us see the full picture, not only what we invest today, but what we must sustain tomorrow. This will help us in ensuring that every decision we take is both informed and responsible, balancing immediate capability with long-term efficiency. I am confident that there exist many more such global best practices or the process technologies that can further strengthen our systems. My advice to the armed forces would be to remain in a constant state of curiosity and always on the lookout for the best practices across the world, not just in technology related to equipment, but also the new technologies related to the aspects of the training, logistics, planning, and the management systems. This institute can play a crucial role in this endeavor by studying, documenting, and disseminating such practices and helping the services adapt them to our national context. In fact, if given a choice, it is far better to import best practices than to import the best equipment. Because once we perfect the process and once our systems are robust, adaptive, and transparent, we will not merely purchase excellence from abroad, we can produce it here at home. And that, friends, brings us to the heart of the matter. Ultimately, the real challenge before any nation is to build systems and ecosystems that make the creation as well as the adoption of the new technology natural, swift, and self-sustaining. If our foundations are strong, our institutions agile, our minds open, and our collaboration seamless, then every new technological wave will not overwhelm us. It will propel us. We will not merely adopt the revolutions made elsewhere, but become the architects of the revolutions born here. Therefore, for India, the path ahead is clear. We must move decisively from technology adoption to technology leadership. We can no longer be content with merely catching up to global innovation. We must aim to set the pace and shape the future. Our strength lies not in any single institution, but in our ecosystem of talent, ideas, and partnerships. And we have a young and inventive workforce full of imagination and purpose. And we have a vibrant startup culture that is unafraid to experiment, to take risks, and to challenge convention. Our defense industrial base is expanding with the renewed confidence and the clarity of the direction. The synergy between DRDO, our armed forces, industry, and academia is deepening and creating a virtuous cycle of research, testing, field feedback, and innovation. We must continue to nurture the culture of innovation by giving our scientists and startups both the freedom of imagine and the support to deliver, by encouraging collaboration over silos and speed over procedural inertia. Technology leadership doesn't emerge from isolated brilliance. It grows from a national ecosystem that rewards ideas, tolerates failures, and celebrates breakthroughs. Friends, in the past, the defense and the government agencies drove technological initiatives with their spin-off benefits percolating into society. The internet is one such example. Increasingly, technological innovation is being driven by the commercial world, and defense and the government agencies are adapting such technologies subsequently. The technology is increasingly being democratized. It is encouraging to note the drive and the enthusiasm of the Indian commercial industry towards enhancing the nation's technological threshold. Initiatives like IDEX and the Technology Development Fund are already nurturing a new generation of innovators who see national defense not merely as a sector of employment but as a mission of our national service. They are the architects of a future where cutting-edge technologies from autonomous systems and the quantum sensors to advanced materials and space-based surveillance will bear the imprint of Indian ingenuity. From young entrepreneurs, MSMEs, to captains of the Indian multinationals, individuals and the companies have displayed the collective will to help achieve the mission of Viksit Bharat and Atmanirbharta. Friends, Atmanirbharta in the digital age goes beyond manufacturing systems within our borders. It extends to digital sovereignty, which means control over the algorithms, data, and the chips that power our platforms. True strategic autonomy will come only when our code is as indigenous as our hardware. We are therefore encouraging secure, indigenous software stacks, trusted semiconductor supply chains, and homegrown artificial intelligence models trained on Indian data. This is not merely about security as much it is about confidence. Confidence that every byte, every beam, and every bot we deploy is aligned with our strategic objectives. And that, amidst all the excitement about machines and algorithms, we must remember that technology ultimately serves the human. It is not meant to replace human judgment, but to amplify it. I think we must also invest in the ethical, psychological, and legal dimensions of these emerging technologies. India as a civilizational power can and must lead the conversation on the responsible and the human use of the military technology. Friends, in conclusion, I would like to say that the harnessing new age technologies for defense capability development is not merely about upgrading our arsenal, it is about transforming our entire approach to national security. Technology for us should not be an end in itself. Rather, it should be an instrument of efficiency, of integration, and of empowerment. It is about turning processes into platforms and systems into ecosystems. It is about ensuring that every investment in technology enhances not only our capability but also our credibility and confidence as a nation. It must make our forces faster in decision, sharper in response, and stronger in outcome. It must help us use every rupee, every resource, and every idea more intelligently. Friends, our task, therefore, is not only to acquire new technologies, but to create the conditions where technology can thrive through sound processes, agile institutions, and a spirit of collaboration that unites the soldier, the scientist, the startup, and the strategists. That is how India will move from being a consumer of technology to a creator of technology, and from adapting to technological revolutions made elsewhere to shaping revolutions born here. Friends, before I end my address, I extend my very best wishes to all participants of the Delhi Defense Dialogue 2025. I wish you productive deliberations to better understand our technological goals and means to achieve